Good morning. It's Friday, August 21st, 2015. This is Tech Talk Today, episode 206, and my name is Chris.
My name is Noah.
Hey, Noah, good morning to you.
I'm here yet again.
Yes, you are, and this is nice, too, because we're recording Linux Action Show this Friday, and then you're getting the F out of here.
I am.
I don't know, I'm going to be lonely. I think, actually, I think I'll be okay. I think it's Rikai.
Yeah.
Rikai's going to be lonely.
He'll never admit it.
Yeah,
He'll never admit it.
No, he never will. He never will. You know what he could always do, though? He could always hang out with our Mumble Room. Why don't we bring those guys in? That way they can talk about the news with us this morning. Time of Propes greeting, Mumble Room.
Hello.
Hello.
Good afternoon.
Hello. Okay, so you know where we have to start this week. We have to start with Ashley Madison. This is the story this week that just keeps on evolving. And now we have more data from the Ashley Madison dump. In fact, double the size of the previous one. It's like a 20 gigabyte data dump now. And it has a lot of things in here. And they're targeting, including the CEO of Ashley Madison. They're dumping internal emails from Ashley Madison. Now, it was brought to our attention that perhaps maybe we didn't clearly explain what Ashley Madison was yesterday. And I thought maybe instead of us explaining what Ashley Madison is, we'll play one of their first ads. This is called Sally's Song. It was published by Ashley Madison in October of 2010, and it's part of their original marketing that was actually targeted at women. And it's a cartoon, and it's a little more powerful in video, so we'll have a link in the show notes if you're listening in the audio version, because a lot of the message is conveyed via the illustration. So if you're not really quite clear on what Ashley Madison is, this ad probably will make it clear to you.
Sally didn't know what to do. Her marriage seemed to be almost through, but she heard a commercial that they called controversial. So Sally went with infidelity. It's exciting when you're lonely. The only place to find it on is ashleymadison.com. A world where like-minded add-ons come to play.
Woo! Yeah, that's good stuff right there, right?
So, as one of the first commercials or one of the first advertisements, we were talking at LinuxCon that the site was originally created for women to help.
They were targeting. I think
targeting women.
You know, it's funny. You can't say. How can you say really creative because it takes two to tango? It has to have both sexes.
That's true.
But I think it's they've shifted their marketing message more to men over the years. But
I think 70% of their market is men. I think that's what there was a statistic that came up.
So, hey, boy, what a mess. And this is out of all of the cyber attacks we've had, this one strikes me to be one of the more interesting ones. Mumble Room, any thoughts on the whole Ashley Madison story? Some of you guys may or may not have been following it. I'm curious if anybody has any thoughts. I find that, like the Gawker breach and the AT&T breach were ones that got close to me, close to home, like some of my passwords that I thankfully just used only in those places. Thank God for LastPass. That was like kind of close and personal. I could only imagine. Like, could you imagine if my name was in that database?
Your name would never be in that database.
But that would be very embarrassing. Although, honestly, if it was, I would totally just own up to it. I'd be like, here's the thing. And then I'd make a story out of it on air.
I tell you what, that's one thing that shocks me, and at the same time I appreciate about you. It's like, no matter what happens, like, every time I look at him, I'm like, oh my gosh, I can't believe that happened. He'll turn around, he's like, show content.
Hey, it's when you live the life. That's how it goes. Okay. All right, well, moving on. No, are you a Spotify user by chance?
Yes.
Yeah, me too. And I didn't want to be a Spotify user, but I finally gave in after friends started creating playlists for me. And then I was like, oh, well, okay, that's cool. And then I'm like, wait a minute. It's so nice just to have really high-quality music on demand like this. And I don't really need to worry about storing proprietary licensed, patent-encumbered music anymore. I'll just let them worry about it. Well, Spotify has updated their privacy policy today, and a lot of people, including Gizmodo, are calling it atrocious. Now, Spotify has clarified how it's going to use this privacy policy, and it's not as bad as initially thought, and you have to give Spotify explicit permission for some of this stuff, but get this. Depending on how, and remember, it all comes down to how they prompt you too, right? So, with your permission, Spotify may collect information on your contacts, photos, and media files on your mobile device. Local law may require that you seek consent of your contacts to provide their personal information to Spotify, which may require the information. That's why they have a prompt that comes up because of local law requirements. Also, Spotify will be tracking your location, depending on the type of device you use to interact with the service. It'll also follow you on Facebook if you integrate your Spotify account with third-party applications. If you do, we may receive similar information related to your interactions with the service or third party. So me and Facebook now and my Spotify account, we're tight. That's real great. Surprise, surprise, it even includes like your posts and things like that Spotify now gets to find out about. Storing and sharing your credit card information. Hey-oh! If you sign up for a trial, purchase any of our paid subscriptions. I am a Spotify premium user. That way I get high quality because I like the high bit rate. Or make other purchases through the service, your credit card or debit information, such as card type and expiration date, and other financial data that we need to process your payment may be collected and stored by us and or the payment processors, which we work. We may also collect some limited information, such as your personal code, mobile number, and details of your transaction history, all which are necessary to provide the service. They say the number one reason to collect this is to improve your Spotify experience. They say we may use the information we collect, including your personal information, to provide personalized and improved experiences. And by the way, that probably means they're selling ads. With the service and product services and advertising included are third-party products and services made available on or outside the service. For example, by providing customized, personalized, or localized content recommendations, features, or advertising on or outside of the service.
Why I always think that stuff like that is BS is, what if I don't want to improve my experience? What if I'm happy with my experience and I would rather take the quote-unquote hit in my experience to preserve my privacy?
Yeah, the way Wired put the article is you can't do squat about it. If you want to use Spotify, you can't do squat about any of this kind of stuff. Now, the new CEO... or he's not that new. CEO Daniel released a statement apologizing for the vague language in the privacy policy also. But boy, can you believe one after another? Like we just had PayPal do this about robocalling. They just keep blowing it on this stuff. They want to take as much as they can take every single time, and then if we catch them, then they pull back a little bit.
In those privacy policies, they are specifically worded to be extremely vague so that only the lawyer defending it in court actually knows what the stupid privacy policy says. I mean, the entire idea is to give them as much freedom as possible so that they can do basically whatever they want and go, well, hey, you agreed to it when you signed up. And then when people get mad about it, they go, well, it does. We're not actually going to abuse it. Here's what we plan on doing it. Well, if you're not going to abuse it, why do you need that?
Yeah, we're not abusing it. We're improving your experience.
Right. What if I don't want my experience improved, though?
That's rough, isn't it? I just don't like that at all. Mumbaroom, any thoughts on the Spotify thing? This is really the problem. This is the problem with cloud-based streaming services and having your stuff on demand. Not that you don't have your media files, because I can replace that. Like if Spotify went away tomorrow, there are ways I could replace the music I have on Spotify with different varying legalese, right? But they got me now. They got me in a way where like I want access to the content. I don't really want to go through the hassle of replacing all of it just for this. And so now they got me.
I would argue you can't replace it. And I would say that because the advantage for me, at least for Spotify, was I had no problem buying my music on Amazon. Amazon made it so easy that it's not really an inconvenience. But the thing about Spotify is I never have to update it. I have my same station or whatever, and I get new music all the time. And I don't have to think about it, and I don't have to go find new music, and I don't have to think about what I might want to listen to.
It's like the radio on your phone.
Exactly. And except it's better than the radio because instead of having one DJ making input on the changes to the content, it's all of my other friends that enjoy the same kind of music that I enjoy. And I don't know how you'd replace that.
Yeah. This is really awful. I really hate it when a service I use does this. I feel like the same. They all do this too. They are.
Well, it's the number one way they get money, right? They get you hooked on something that you're interested in, and then they go, okay, well, how do we best capitalize? Oh, we have to sell information. How do we sell information? Well, we have to collect that information.
I think that we should all make those businesses fail.
Nice. That's good timing.
Yeah. Could also throw in a little...
Proprietary software is not ethical.
Yeah. And we could make those businesses fail. We just all have to cumulatively choose to do so.
Yeah.
I don't think that's going to happen.
I just get a really yucky feeling about this one. Zell, you wanted to make a point about Spotify?
Yeah, it goes into a lot of things you've already spoke of, Chris. It's just all goes down to convenience versus security. Where are you willing to draw the line?
Yeah, that is, and I think that line is getting closer and closer for me. I don't know if this is it. I'm gonna give it some thought. Experiment with the idea. I like this next story a lot. I'm glad I have a good Google story. Your new phone will have less Google bloatware, potentially at least. Now, who knows about your OEM? They're going to load it up with a lot of crap. But Google is allowing folks, OEMs, to drop things like Play Books and some of the other Play apps that they used to require that were just nobody uses at all, like You know, that's funny. Like the iPhone now. Look at this. They have this folder, this screenshot here. Of the folder's called Useless, and it's all the Apple apps that ship with the iPhone. Same thing though, right? Isn't that true on Android as well? Like all these different Play apps that come in here. So Play Newsstand, like for example, is another one that won't be in there anymore. I've never used Play Newsstand either. I checked it out like one time and then never went back into it. So Google is getting a little more reasonable. Oh. Yo, can you guess what the other one is that I actually should have mentioned? I should have led with? The other app not required anymore to ship with Android? Take a guess. I think if you think about it, you could guess.
Oh, probably. The YouTube app?
No, never. Nope. The Google Plus. Yep, we got it.
Really?
Yep.
I would think there'd be...
They're winding that thing down. Also, they just busted Hangouts into its own separate web app. It's no longer integrated into Google Plus. It's hangouts.google.com.
Yeah, Rikai and I discovered that at some great cost to my sanity, because when you install the plugin in Chrome under Linux...
Is that why it did that?
Yes, we think so. Well, we don't know. It was like 2 in the morning, so my troubleshooting ability was almost nil.
Yeah.
But basically, I could only open Hangouts. I could no longer open Chrome.
Yeah, so Noah, on a new installation of Ubuntu 15.04, he installs Chrome from... Did you download the deb from their site?
Downloaded it right from Google's site, installed it. Everything worked fine. Then we were trying to basically hack into some of my accounts, and that required me to receive a phone call on a phone I couldn't access. So I installed the Hangouts extension, because you have to have the Hangouts extension in order to receive the calls, apparently. And when I did that, once I closed Chrome, I could no longer open Chrome. I could just open Hangouts.
You click the Chrome icon in the launcher.
Right.
And it would launch Hangouts.
Would open. And that's it. And there was no way to get a new window. And of course, Rakai's
you tried rebooting and stuff?
Oh, yeah. Rakai's like, here, we can right-click and do a new window. You can launch it from the terminal with but no.
You tried launching from the terminal, it still only opened up Hangouts?
Yep.
Really?
No matter what we did, it's always Hangouts. And
really?
And then I uninstalled it and reinstalled it, and same problem. And the only way to fix it, we had to go like delete files, and it was a mess. Total mess.
Oh, wow.
And I would have been happy just using Firefox, except I can't watch Netflix in Firefox.
Yeah.
I can't fall asleep unless I have something to watch.
You totes could have, I mean, I know you'd never would do this, but all you had to do, seriously, the iPad right there on the table, and it's just connected to the Chromecast, and Netflix is on it.
No.
Yeah, it's dead. You'll go drive yourself crazy all night long.
I'd rather just not sleep.
Yeah, okay. All right, well, hey, Noah, this is one of my new favorite lines. Hey, Noah, you travel a lot.
I do.
Yeah.
I do.
What do you think about this? The JFK Airport has a big idea to try to give you more accurate wait time estimations and help control traffic flow in the airport. They're doing that by tracking everyone's cell phone in the whole building. And they're using beacons. So passengers moving through JFK Airport Terminal 4 are now being presented with estimated processing times on 13 news screens. The large and prominent screens are placed at TSA security and customs and border protection checkpoints, as well as indoor taxi queues. It continuously updates, the vice president at the company said, which runs Terminal 4. People like to know how long they're going to wait in queues. Nobody likes to wait in lines with all of their signage and all of that stuff, and they have determined that they can drive wait times by these beacons that they say anonymously monitor passengers' mobile devices as they move through the airport. The Blip Track solution is what it's called. It's invented by Denmark-based Blip Systems. It detects Bluetooth or Wi-Fi devices that are in discoverable mode, found in mobile phones, and obviously like your tablet and probably your laptop potentially too. When a device passes the beacons, its non-personal unique ID called a MAC address. What? Really?
What?
It's non-personal unique ID?
Come on, that's fair. That's fair. I'll tell you what. I'll give you 4 MAC addresses. You tell me which one's Sarah, which one's me. Find some information about it.
You give me enough time, and I will lock down which one is yours and which one is Sarah's if I can monitor you for maybe even just half an hour. Really, it doesn't take that long.
But you have no information to go off of other than the MAC address.
Yeah, that's what the same people said who dumped the AOL search database and you narrowed everybody. Okay. It does not take a lot. Really, I could probably, if I just watched what addresses that MAC address visits, it probably wouldn't take me that long to figure out, but just a safe enough guess which one's you and which one's Sarah.
Yeah, but that's because you know
and then that number never changes. Once I make that identification once I have one piece of data that gives me that identification, I've identified that MAC address for the life of that machine.
Yeah, that's true.
It's not a unique, I mean, it's not a, what did they call it? A non-personal. They call it a non-personal unique ID. How is that? That doesn't even make sense. A non-personal unique ID. How can something be non-personal if it's unique to you? Well, that's by its very definition, very personal.
I think what they're saying is there's no personal information attached to the unique ID.
Yeah, I grok. It's just very clunky, and I think it conveys the wrong message to the public. Anyways, they record that. By the way, forever, I'm sure.
Yeah.
Forever, so they know every time you've come back to. And they say they do encrypt and timestamp it in the database. By re-identifying the device from multiple beacons, the travel times, in fact, that's why they have to track it, that's how the whole system works, dwell times and movement patterns become available. With this data, JFK is able to display accurate wait times to reduce passenger frustration and to notify staffing areas if the terminal are becoming congested. So staff can identify and rectify bottlenecks before they escalate.
So aside from the privacy, first of all, I come at it from two ways. On one hand, nobody goes into the airport and expects privacy. If you do, you're a fool. But
yeah, no kidding.
But that said, why do I care about the wait times again? It's not like I can do anything about it.
You fly like nobody else, dude. But nobody flies like you.
Yeah,
everybody else is super stressed out about the timing and getting there and making.
But how does knowing make it any different?
It's all part of why we have to check the weather every 30 seconds, even though we could just look outside.
Yeah.
We are just these obsessive creatures that worry about these things. But but that worry does convey to stressful passengers, and if they can reduce stress,
I think it'll just increase stress. Then you're going to have people sitting in the lines going, "I have 43 minutes to get through the security checkpoint, and my plane leaves in 61 minutes." And that doesn't make any. You know what? Here's my thought: we'll get through the security line. When we get through the security line, there's nothing I can do to go faster, and there's really not much I can do to go slower.
Here, check this out, too. Just some interesting numbers here. An Expedia survey found out that 94% of leisure travelers travel with a mobile device. 64.
Oh, really? We did a study on that, huh?
Well, yeah.
All right.
What's interesting, though, is 64% of Americans now own a smartphone. So, yeah. The screens are privately funded. They cost more than $250,000. Yikes. So it's going to be big to roll that out. Any thoughts from the Mumble Room on tracking you with your phone? And think about, it's not just airports. You could do this at conferences. You could do this at a grocery store, a movie theater, any big venue, a concert.
We, to some degree, do it at AltaSpeed.
Yeah?
At a very, very small level. Yeah, we track if one MAC address goes, if we have a hotel owner that owns 7 hotels, we track where that user is in one of the 7 properties, and if they have malicious activity on one, they get banned from all of them.
Wimpy, what are your thoughts on it? Does it seem invasive, or does it seem not so bad?
Well, I recently did a round of interviews to recruit some people to join our company. And interestingly, a couple of them came from organisations that do this kind of tracking for retail facilities, shopping malls and things of that nature. And they weren't just tracking Bluetooth; their radio devices in the shopping malls, and these things are deployed all over the world. So although I'm in Europe, this is not specific to the UK or Europe. They track Bluetooth, Wi-Fi, and GSM, and they use all of the radio signals that are available to track and plot movement and footfall through shopping malls in order to determine where the prime locations are, where the shopping mall agents can charge higher rents because these are the more popular areas and all of that sort of thing. And they're able to track your return visits and movement over time, not by you, but by the device you're carrying. And it was interesting that the recent changes with Apple's iPhone, where when its Wi-Fi is scanning looking for an access point, it generates fake MAC addresses. And it's only when the iPhone associates with the access point that it uses its real MAC address. So actually with the iPhone you get a degree of protection from some of these facilities, because as it's just hunting for an access point, it's handing out random information.
Yeah, I wonder if that random MAC address thing will take off. I wonder if more people will start doing that now that this is starting to take off. Because Wimpy, now that you talk about this, I'm reminded of a story we covered in TechSnap a couple of years ago about Target actually putting beacons even down the hallways. And get ready for this. They were able to determine they were able to determine with a high degree of certainty when women were pregnant, like when they'd become recently pregnant, based on where they would visit in the store and when they would come back, and then they would progressively visit other areas.
I completely believe that. I totally believe that.
That's amazing to me, though.
I totally believe that because I remember when Sarah was pregnant, there's a difference in where we visited in the store. Like, I mean, there are very specific sections of the store that we were only in when she was pregnant. So I completely believe that.
So you'll probably find that all of the major supermarkets and shopping malls near you have these footfall tracking services. Next time you visit one, just look for the little signs. There are tiny little signs alerting you to the fact that you're being monitored, but they're very difficult to spot. And if you look even more closely, you can see the radio equipment that's been installed to do this. And I was kind of oblivious to this. I sort of knew it was happening, but I didn't understand the scope and reach of the technologies, and I'm a little bit more suspicious about it now.
Daredevil, you said you've noticed this technology in other places as well.
Yeah, in fact, there is companies that have been doing this, that actually started, at least from what I understood from their explanation, when they started was originally to give statistics to governments on manifestations. So when there's a public gathering or something of that kind, they want to know how many people attended so that they can actually perceive the relevance of it as well. And so they will do this kind of tracking of the devices.
Right.
This was the original purpose, at least from what I understood, at least on companies in Europe. And then they saw the other commercial potentials. I honestly think as long as data protection laws make it that they can't permanently hold the records for undiscriminated amount of time, then it should be totally fine. There's no problem with it.
Boy, if I was going to go full on conspiracy, I agree with everything you said until that very end, because we are very quickly working on a law here in the United States. It's CISA or CISPA. There's a couple different versions of it, and in there, essentially, U.S. companies can share any information like that is considered cybersecurity related, and I got to imagine that kind of thing could be considered cybersecurity related, and they can share it with complete indemnification from any laws about customer protection, and there is zero recourse for any customers to take. It's the same type of indemnification the telcos got. So this is that's a little scary if you combine those kinds of things.
Aren't we connecting to free Wi-Fi spots anyways? Aren't we walking with these devices showing the carrier where we are anyways? Yeah. I mean, at this point, if that's the fear, I don't think...
And I think if you're probably properly paranoid, you'd probably take countermeasures.
Yeah, well, so there is no... that's what I keep getting to, is you're walking around with these devices, but take the cell phone totally out of it. I leave my cell phone at home, okay? Problem solved? No, because I'm still on camera, and then they're going to check your photo ID when you walk in. Then they're going to check it again when you go through the TSA line. You're going to be identified no less than 3 times every time you travel. Not to mention tracked 100% of the time on camera everywhere you go inside of an airport. So this idea that there's anything that you can do to stop, which is why I just don't care. I mean, I couldn't care less, because they have way more. I mean, forget the MAC address. They want to identify me. I gave the guy my driver's license, my state-issued ID.
Yeah.
I just have a hard time caring.
All right, let's pick it up. Let's talk about something kind of interesting. So, a study of GitHub's top coding languages shows that open source are everywhere. So, Java is now number 2. It's the second most popular language on GitHub. C# growing. JavaScript obviously is number 1. Ruby is falling down a little bit. PHP is staying steady. Python falling a bit. Objective-C is starting to drop. But C# is now climbing very handsomely, I gotta say, for the last year. Big jump in the last year. But open source is rocking it, and that's I don't actually know what to draw from this to tell you the truth, but I am glad to see those trends. Daredevil, your thoughts on these trends? Do we believe them?
Actually, I have a hard time. It really depends on what is the current hot project that many people are forking.
Yeah.
And because people fork, suddenly Java, for example, let's say Jitsi or WebRTC, something that has a Java implementation. Suddenly people start forking it and start counting more people dealing with Java.
Exactly.
Is that really? No,
it doesn't.
They're dealing with the same project. Come on. Unless
they're able to
revealing
duplicate forks because they can see the fork data, so they're actually able to duplicate that.
Really?
Yes.
They should be able to.
They should be able to, but I want them to go and show how are they calculating this. Without calculation, statistics are worthless.
Wimpy, do you think this could be a result of Microsoft's recent changes?
Well, it's coincidental, isn't it, that there's a rise in C# and Microsoft open source .NET platform.
Could that maybe just be their big code dump they did? Maybe that's what it is.
I suspect it's a code dump.
Is it that and lots of people forking it, or is that lots of people starting to use it?
I suspect with Java and C#, it's a lot of code dumps. People moving stuff to GitHub. Especially with all the different, horrors with SourceForge and things. And
I was just going to say, Google Code shutting down and SourceForge. Yeah, this has been an interesting year for GitHub. I guess, if anything, those trends show us what code's moving in, maybe, too.
And the other question is, what are they counting? Lines of code, commits?
That may be
files.
They may go into Ars Technica links to the study, so that may be in there. I didn't dig through that part of it.
And the graph is kind of misleading because it ranks them. It doesn't look at lines of code, so something may decrease, but not because they're actually decreasing the amount of commits or something over time, but because other things are increasing at a faster rate.
Yeah, I wonder too. I think it's probably so. It shows, say, Objective-C pretty low on the chart, right? That obviously doesn't reflect the sheer volume of iOS apps that are out there. So obviously, maybe those developers are not as active on GitHub as, say, the Ruby developer or C#.
Apple developers don't share.
Well, there's no incentive to, right? Because what are you going to use it on?
Well, I think
that you share the code.
And isn't there some NDAs at play too when you're developing software?
Maybe.
For before it's approved and stuff like that. I think there's some NDAs at play. Now let's go to the opposite end of that fence. Mozilla is updating their rules for developing add-ons for Firefox. So if you're a Firefox user, which I don't think probably anybody is, but if you're
there's no one intelligent in the room? No intelligent in the mama room? Why would you insult the intelligence of mama? See, everyone uses Firefox.
I know, I'm just kidding.
All those in Chrome say aye? See, what did I tell you?
So I'm sorry all your extensions are about to break, but there's good news. So I like how they put this. Our add-on ecosystem has evolved through incremental organic growth over the years, i.e. no structure. But now, Firefox has some fundamental changes that add-ons are going to have to support, taking advantage of new technologies like electrolysis and servo, protecting user from spyware and adware. Oh, there's an idea. And shortening time it takes to review add-ons. So that's good. That's good. So they're implementing a new API they call web extensions, which are largely compatible with a model used by Chrome and Opera to make it easier to develop extensions for multiple browsers. A safer, faster, multi-process version of Firefox is really going to come soon, we promise. And we need to ensure the developers have their add-ons compatible with it. Also, they need to ensure third-party extensions provide customizations without sacrificing security, performance, or exposing users to malware, i.e. the impossible. And we have decided to approximate a timeline for the depreciation of XPCOM and Xorzool based add-ons. Now, I'm sad because I have some serious love for some of my classic Firefox add-ons. It's sort of what always brings me back to Firefox. Yeah. Now, I'm not sure what's going to draw me back, but I'm sure it's that electrolysis.
A wonderful user interface.
Yeah,
the stability.
That performance and never having malware and extensions that never slow down your browser or sacrifice security. And that multi-process version of Firefox, that's probably what's going to bring me back as soon as that hits stable.
I really like Firefox, and I know that you and Rikai don't, but
no, it's fine. I think I really respect Mozilla.
Yeah, no, I know you do. I know you do. I shouldn't say that. I guess what I mean is, I understand that in your personal experience, you seem to have nothing but trouble with Firefox. That's maybe more accurate. Yeah. But I have the exact opposite experience, and to some degree, it's funny because I don't think that you or I, neither you or I, are unintelligent people, and yet at the same time, we seem to both have two opposite experience on multiple levels, and Chrome or Firefox just kind of exemplifies that.
Yeah, Daredevil agrees with you, I think.
Yeah, I mean, honestly, I don't know. I maybe just I use 3-4 extensions, and I really don't need them every single day, so I'm always fine.
Yeah. I know. Different strokes, different folks, and I actually, like I say every time I talk about Firefox, I still like it. I have it installed on multiple computers. I don't judge you for using it. I just happen to find Chrome works better for me, and I kind of hate that a little bit. End of disclaimer. All right. Because you know what I mean? Like, I think people think I don't hate it. I don't want it. It just doesn't work well for me.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And as can be exemplified in the last episode where you attempted to use it for the entire week and had nothing but problems the whole week, and then cataloged and yeah.
Yeah, I agree with Crystallis. Why even use one browser? That's crazy. I have GNOME Web, I have Firefox and Chrome on every computer.
Okay, now that I take exception to.
No, GNOME Web I like for just like real simple stuff. It's like just real basics, or like if I need to open up Gmail in another browser and don't want to worry about multiple logins and stuff like that, it's nice for that.
Private Windows.
Yeah. What? Yeah, I do that too. Yeah. All right, guess what? It's time for our Kickstarter of the week. This one came into the subreddit. It's called Pearbuds, or Pearbuds, maybe? Pearbuds, probably. Pearbuds. Let me look at it. Let me look. Yeah, Pearbuds. The world's smallest stereo cordless earbuds, Noah. I know you're into cordless earbuds.
Yes.
Yeah.
Boy, am I ever.
Yeah, so this is got 1,000 backers. They're looking for $50,000. They've already got $140,000. They have 27 days left to go, and I'm going to play a little bit of their Kickstarter video. They say it's a stylish alternative to bulky headphones.
Tomorrow?
That's a good question. I haven't really even thought of that yet.
Like the look. Yeah, I watched the very beginning.
Just people walking down the street right now. Oh, that guy. That guy's dancing behind him.
What are you listening to?
Those are tiny.
Nope, I don't like it.
Turn left on Havenside Drive, then your destination will be on the left.
I love it.
No, I don't like it.
So they are very small.
13 nuts, swells 3 to 4 feet in height.
One day, if I never told you that
So they're showing people walking around the different areas, working on different things, wearing these earbuds with their favorite music playing. They're getting instructions from a tablet or phone. Because it's working as a Bluetooth audio device. So if you have an app that speaks, like Maps,
and you put it on a spoon and you give it to each of your guests and you tell everyone, wait, and everyone eats the hazelnut at the same time. You get a taste of the honey.
So what are you not liking about this, Noah?
So the thing that always turned me off about Bluetooth headsets to begin with was I had this thing that went into my ear and that got uncomfortable. So then I'd take it out and I didn't know what to do with it. So I'd stick it in my pocket or I pull it back out or I put it back in. And so I just didn't use Bluetooth earpieces until LG released their little thing that it's like a necklace that you wear, and then they have little earbuds you can pull out and stick into your ears, and that has totally revolutionized headphones or Bluetooth earpieces for me because I would never carry earphones with me. I'd never carry headphones.
These are tiny.
I understand that, but it's still something I have to put into my ear and then take out, and I got to put it somewhere. So where does it go? In my pocket? What's going to get crushed or lost? I want it to be on me somewhere so that when I get a phone call, I can just
6-hour battery life. What's your LG got there? Like days?
Way more than that. Yeah. Way more than that.
Yeah.
I haven't charged it since I've arrived here.
When you use with a charging case, because it comes with you can put it with a charging case. It comes with 18-hour battery life.
So that's one other thing I have to carry with me then.
Well, so because they snap into it. I imagine. I don't know. You carry the case. Yeah. So
I'm not digging it.
Yeah, you're not
digging it at all.
I don't know.
A friend of mine has a pair of Bluetooth earbuds.
Are they tiny like this?
Like what Noah was describing. It's got a thing that goes around your neck, and then they come out of that.
I don't know. As somebody who likes to go, I like to go into the grocery store, and I would prefer to be able to listen to my podcasts while I'm in the grocery store.
Yeah, I do it all the time.
I don't like having headphones hanging out of my... I hate being that person in a social setting and have headphones in. I don't want to be that person, but these are discreet enough where I feel like I could have one or two in and not feel bad about it.
That's worse. Then people are going to come up and start talking to you, not realizing that you're listening to something. I'd rather everyone know I'm ignoring them.
The other thing that I don't quite understand about this is there's actually already a product on the market. It's not quite like this at all, but it's already out there today, and I've tried it. It's called the Moto Hint. And the Moto Hint, instead of being stereo, only goes in one ear, but I actually kind of like that more because then when I am in a social situation, I can actually still hear what's going on because I have one ear available.
Yeah.
And the Moto Hint fits in one ear. It doesn't last super long, but the same kind of thing. It has a charging case that you bring with it. And if you pair it with a Motorola, like maybe yours actually, you get all kinds of crazy functionality. It basically becomes Google Now and Cortana in your ear all the time. It's always available, always on voice commands. When you don't use it with a Motorola device, it's just a Bluetooth earpiece that does Bluetooth audio and makes calls. It's small, it fits in your ear, and it's available today. It's a little expensive, but it's because it's a premium product, and you don't have to wait for it to ship in March of 2016. So I got this simply so that way when I was out in social situations but wanted to be able to still have a little bit of my own personal space or whatever, I could pop this Moto in and I can listen to podcasts and take calls, and people don't even really know it's in my ear.
Yeah.
And it's available today on the market.
So there's other things I like about...
sorry. No, I was just going to mention, just so you know how it works, is that it has an IR proximity sensor, and so it turns off, and then when you put it in your ear, it turns on and connects, and then when you pull it out, it automatically turns off. And so if you want to, one of the nice things that's really nice is if you want to go from the headset to your phone, and you just want to take the call on your phone, you just pull it out of your ear, and it just the call transfers right back to your phone.
Oh, I like that.
Yeah. Anyway, sorry.
No. So the other thing I like about the LG is because I have some real estate on my neck, there are things they made very good use of that real estate. So for instance, my left lapel, if I tap it, I can answer or hang up a call. My right lapel, if I tap it, I can pause or play my music. On the
what are those called? I'm gonna put them in the show notes so people can
just search LG Bluetooth earbuds.
Yeah, okay. They're probably on Amazon, right?
Yeah, and then on the collar of the unit, I have volume on one side and seek back and forth on the other side, and then of course a power switch, and then it has a built-in microphone. Like they really are the perfect earbuds.
Maybe I should try them. It's just the problem is the ones with retractable. So they have two models, and I'd be curious to know what you think. So here's the one you have, I think, right?
Yep. Yeah, I got the one for like $40.
Yeah. So yeah, it's $46, and it has that's really nice, and it sounds good too, right?
It's okay.
It's okay. And then they have an $82 model that has retractable earbuds.
Yeah.
That seems like the one to get.
Well, and I would guess that the quality of the earbuds are probably a little better as well.
So I'm going to put links to both of these in the show notes if you guys are curious about this, and a link to the Moto Hint. Man, I wish we still had our Amazon affiliate thing. Stupid thing. But there you go. So I have that in there, and we'll have that in there. And somehow, in the process of all this, I managed to close all of my tabs. How do you like that business? But anyway, so if you guys want to check that out, Noah has been rocking those since he's been here, and I got to say they do seem really nice.
Yeah.
So
I bet you had no idea I was listening to a podcast for part of the part of the meetup.
Part of the meetup? No,
Yeah.
I've caught you listening a couple of other times, but
Yeah.
no, I didn't know for part of the meetup. I had no idea, sir.
Yeah, well, there's an episode came out, and I wanted to see what it was talking about, so I stuck it in, listened to the first like maybe 30, 40 seconds of it, and pulled it back out. Yeah, it's just I can't say enough good things about it. It's rare that I get a product that there's oftentimes I'll buy something and then I just take it home and it gets wound up in my basement somewhere, and then that just clutters up. This is one of those products that I bought, and like now I won't go back to not having it.
And just to make sure people understand, the one you have, like the $46 one, where they don't retract, they're still like magnetic connections where they're not like flopping all over the place.
No, and they're actually, it's a relatively powerful magnet, and so if I do something really super aggressive, sometimes they'll get knocked out. For the most part, they stay right there.
Nice. All right. Well, we're going to get out of here, but I'd like to mention the Patreon. We could use your support over at patreon.com/today. So that way we can expand the Jupiter Broadcasting staff and get more support, keep things regular when we go out to the conventions and things like that. You know, I just felt awful that Monday and Tuesday, because Coda Radio came out on Friday, because we recorded it Friday, so we just released it right away. But that meant that we didn't have any new episodes on the network Monday and Tuesday because we were at LinuxCon.
Right.
And, one of the things I want to be able to build this network towards is having a support person here that keeps things running even when Chris is busy. Mm-hmm. And because the problem is I am the bottleneck. If I go off site and go work on a project, mm-hmm. It's hard to keep things running here. It's something we're working on, and it's something we want to get better at. And it's something I'd rather not bring a sponsor on to accomplish.
Yeah.
But that's always a difficult thing, because then you have to keep that sponsorship going or replaced to keep that staff person going.
Yes.
And that's a position where you kind of get put into having to make something like that work. Mm-hmm. And I'd rather be in a position of having to make something work for our audience. And so patreon.com/today, we could use your support over there, so that way we can make things even better, smoother, and sustainable over here at Jupiter Broadcasting. Patreon.com/today. And if you'd like to submit something to this show, techtalktoday.reddit.com, like that Kickstarter of the week, or maybe an end of show video. We've gotten some really good submissions from the chat room. So I think we're going to do, even though it's weird, we're going to do intros for our outro for a little while, some of the audience's favorite classic television shows. A lot of commercials coming in, so that's where we're going to run through a little bit. This one came in from Wimpy. He suggested Danger Mouse. Did you ever watch Danger Mouse?
No.
You might have, actually. You might remember. You might recognize it once you see the intro, because they sometimes here in the U.S. would cut it in with other cartoons as in between stuff. So you might have. Maybe. We'll see. Anyways, that wraps us up for Tech Talk today. Check the calendar for next week's schedule, jupiterbroadcasting.com/calendar. And please do join me live in the Mumble Room and in the chat room. We'd love to have you here. Thanks for watching today. See you back here next time.
Strongest, he's a